Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Juan Cristales here, man. Let me tell you, we are building these awesome ground up duplexes. These are single story. If that is something that interests you and you want to geek out on that stuff, please let me know. I am happy to make these videos for you. I want you to understand something. I'm going to make an analogy here from when I was in the military, okay? At one point, I was a weapons platoon commander. And what that means is I had a squad of machine guns, I had a squad of mortars, and I had a squad of rockets. Okay. Now, I myself personally was never an ultra expert at any one of those things. I didn't know all of the super fine details when it came to machine guns. I didn't know all the super fine details when it came to mortars or rockets. But the guys that were in those units, they were the experts in those particular fields. Their squad leaders were very proficient in those weapons. Now, as the weapons platoon commander, I had to have some general knowledge to be able to employ those, but I didn't have to be the guy actually pulling the trigger. And I think that I'm confusing a lot of you guys with all of the extra information I'm giving you because, you just know so much, right? After you do it for so many times and you just keep repeating and repeating and you do the same thing over and over again, you start becoming subject matter expert. So, what I need you guys to understand is that the mechanicals, the air conditioning guys, they're the subject matter experts in this. The electricians, subject matter experts. The plumbers, they have their own expertise. Now, I know a lot about them, but I'm not an expert in any of those things. And the same thing goes for the foundation guys, because this is where we're at right now. We're doing post-tension slabs, which means we're putting these cables in. They're going to be going across and, up and down the foundation. Now, I may know a little bit more detail than you probably know, but this isn't something that you should be intimidated by. It's not that complicated. And besides, we're leaning heavily on the expertise of other people to ensure that this gets done correctly. You're going to lean heavily on the expertise of the foundation guy to make sure this gets done correctly. And before you're allowed to pour concrete, the city is also going to come check on them. Now, if you really want to learn more, you can go over there and talk to the city inspector and say, hey, so what are you looking for? How do I make this go easier next time? What did the guys mess up? If you really want to educate yourself, and that's part of the process, right? If you really want to. Now, you don't really have to, but you can because they're the backstop. The city inspector is the referee. He's the backstop to ensure that all this stuff gets done correctly. So we have the cables delivered today, and the guys that were out there, they dug the footings. These things, these trenches are called footings. This is where the concrete is going to be going, and so they dug it up, and then the cable is going to get put in. Along, it's going to be covered with some plastic tarp. So anyway, that's part of their job, part of the process. The plumber has already come in, as you can see right here. He's done his job already as far as the wastewater, and we've already passed that inspection. And actually, when I say we, the plumber technically is the one who passed that inspection, not me, because if anything is wrong with this inspection, it's the plumber who has to pass this inspection, who has to go back and fix it and repair it. Now you see here there's a little green pipe, because that little green pipe, there's going to be concrete there. That is going to be touching concrete, so they want that to be covered. Now, I know that only because I've done this a lot of times, but that is a specific thing that the master licensed plumber needs to know. And so the same thing goes for all this other stuff, right? So let's move on to the next one here. As you can see here, we have, just kind of lower level. There's this little bit of a ditch right here, and we had to do that to get some of the water out. When the plumbing ground inspection came through, there was a lot of water in there because it's been raining quite a bit. And so they dug a bit of a ditch there to kind of make sure that that water filtered out toward the front. All right, guys, so here we are, and I made a quick video for you guys to be able to see it. As you can see here, there's 4 of these cleanouts. Remember, this is a U-shaped cleanout here and a U-shaped cleanout right there. And the purpose for that is so that in case that we need to clean out one direction, we can go this way, or this can go that way if it needs to be cleaned out. Each one is independent. So one of the things that we have to ensure during the duplex build, and again, this is something that the plumbers know, is that all of the plumbing has to stay on this side for this unit, and then all of the plumbing for this side needs to stay on this for this unit needs to stay on this side. So very simple stuff. It just is part of the process because these are 2 separate units and they're both individually metered. Let me show you a little bit more. So our job is to supervise. Quite frankly, you don't need to know a whole bunch of stuff about this. other than the fact that the foundation guy needs to know that he has to stand in inspection and he has to be able to pass it. Now, you see this pipe here. This is my job. This is your job. There's a white PVC pipe that's sitting there right in front of the property, and I don't know why. No one knows why. I've asked some people, and they're like, "Hey, where does this water go?" It's like everybody's like, "I don't know." This is part of what's our responsibility, is to ensure that that gets handled right now. Right now that it became a problem, that we saw it, we dug up a white PVC pipe that looks like it's for clean water. We don't know if it's servicing anything. And if we just pretend like that's not an issue, this is going to become an issue later if if it's got clean water going through and it's going over to, the people over here on the right. So that's what I mean by that's your part of your responsibility, is to figure out what's going on with that water. If there is water, if there's nothing connected to it, then whatever, cut it off, cut it towards the right, and then cut it off over here on the left hand side, so it's not an issue. But at the same time, but if there is an issue, you address it now and say, hey, we need to figure out a way to put this water line somewhere else, because it's going to be right in the middle of the driveway. And as you can see, the other challenge that we're going to have with this pipe, if we don't do something about it right now, is going to be, look at how close it is to or how high it is in reference to the driveway. So it may not be going right through the middle of the driveway. So we're going to be splitting the driveways, one on the right hand side here, and another driveway here on the left hand side. But look at this, like there's piles of dirt everywhere, and it looks like it's only like 6 inches deep. So clean water lines anyways should be deeper than that. But anyway, that's just something we have to go figure out. It's not the end of the world. We'll come up with a game plan after we figure out what the situation is with it, and then we'll go with that. Is that going to bust your budget? Absolutely not. It's going to bust your budget. And right now is a perfect time to be able to do this, because the guys are out there with these trenches. They can just trench out another line, have the plumber go out there, reconnect it somewhere else, temporary disconnect for about 3.5, 5 minutes at the most, and then they got clean water again. But these are the types of things that you as the builder need to address and have, oversight on. Not necessarily like all these fine little details about, are we using number 4 rebar, number 5 rebar here, whatever, all this other stuff that I was just talking about. There's already professionals for that stuff. All right, guys, so that's what I got for you right now. We're going to be putting all this stuff in. We're going to call the pre-pour inspection, hopefully for Friday or Monday. Actually, tomorrow is Friday, so we can't call it for Friday. So we're going to call the pre-pour inspection for Monday and see if we can have concrete delivered on Tuesday for this particular property. That's where we're at so far, guys. We're moving forward. Thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.